Hola, bom dia, friends in Portugal and beyond. This is Carl Munson with the Good Morning Portugal show here on expatsportugal.com. How are you today? And how was your weekend? Do please let me know in the comments. It'll be great to hear from you. And especially if you're a new person who's tuned in this morning, do let us know where you are and how you are this morning, whether you're in Portugal or making your way here. Or in the case of some of our listeners, if you're a Portuguese person who stays in touch with Portugal by tuning into the show. I am incidentally, as you'll see from my starter screen there, I'm in a charming little place called Anadia in the Aveiro district of Portugal. And this morning I'm looking out over the valley and I can see the vineyard or the vines turning into a beautiful autumnal rust and gold. It's a beautiful scene outside the window, which is now open. I have revamped the studio over the weekend. And I now have a beautiful view out of the window. And you might be able to hear the birds singing if I shut up for a moment. You might not. 13 degrees inside with the window open and 18 degrees, nearly 19 outside at the moment. We will look at the weather for the week around Portugal. And of course, lots of news today. I would do my best for you to bring you up to date with what's going on. We're the state of emergency in Portugal, which has been extended, and we are now in. And endeavour to pick the bones out of the fishy mass that is all the regulations, with the government doing their best to bring an end to the worst effects of the pandemic. I suppose that might be the best way of putting it. And then lots of news stories. Great, a good news story for Portugal, a win at the MotoGP for Miguel Oliveira. A win for my football team, Anadia. You probably don't want to know about that, but yesterday morning I was out with the kids before curfew kicked in. And I could see into the football ground, the local football ground. And it's quite bizarre having canned audience and applause whilst they score. 2-1, Anadia 2-1 on a winning streak. 94 years old, my local club, and I can't wait. I'm not a massive football fan, but I can't wait to get in the ground and make a few Portuguese buddies there on the terraces at Anadia FC. So a few people saying good morning already. So we'll have a chat about Miguel Oliveira and the importance of him winning the MotoGP. We will have a look at some of the things I think you should know about with the pandemic precautions measures. And obviously that's a group effort. I don't mean to be an authority on that. I certainly am not. I find it quite confusing, as I'm sure a lot of people do. Confusing in terms of, the density and volume of information. But so maybe together we can make our way through that and advise each other on that and come up with a rich, hive-informed picture. And there are some other interesting news stories around at the moment. But of course, I want to hear about how your weekend has been, albeit possibly curfew curtailed at times in this last weekend. Bon dia from Bangkok. How about that? First greeting this morning from Helen in Thailand. Air pollution here, but busy and staying positive. What else can you do, Helen? And I do appreciate your correspondence. I really do. Thank you very much for all the messages you send me. Mark and Anna, good morning to you both in central Portugal, I'm presuming. A morning to me and a morning to you. Hola, bon dia to you. In Hampshire is Deborah Davies. We have our tax number now. There's so many jingles I need to do. The NIF jingle, the countdown jingle, and the jingle when I have a little sip of my British tea here. However, although they've got their tax number there in Hampshire, as in their NIF number in Portugal, in the process of getting a bank account, feeling really fed up today, though. Lockdown blues. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm going to think about what I might be able to do to ease that. Folks, let's see if we can help Deborah out. Keep the Portuguese pilot light lit. What did you get up to this weekend that was quintessentially Portuguese? Do share in the comments. I know if Pete's here, he'll have something great to share from Castanheira de Pera. Anyway, the weekend's weather. Let's start there before we go to Miguel Oliveira and some of what we're up against in terms of pandemic measures. Lisbon at the moment, quite cool actually, 10 degrees and partly cloudy. There's a high today of 19. It will remain cloudy. Some rain coming tomorrow and Wednesday. There you go, Deborah. It's not so bad. It might be sunny in Hampshire. 3 days of rain to come in Lisbon. You might be able to get some Schadenfreude pleasure, knowing that it's not quite as sunny in Lisbon as it usually is. 300 days of sunshine a year. Temperatures ranging from 18 right down to 13 on Thursday. Well, it's cooling down. Mrs. M said that this morning. It's a lot cooler this morning. 15 degrees on Friday, though, a sunny reprise on Friday and Saturday. 17 degrees, that's very comfortable for a November, isn't it? Is the forecast next Saturday, and then a cloudy Sunday. So quite a nice weekend to look forward to, I think you'll agree. Porto, 9 degrees this morning, 17 the high today, cloudy, a little bit of sunshine peeking out from behind the clouds, and 3 days of rain, just like the capital. However, there will be sun at the weekend. That's on the Saturday, cloudy Sunday, and Friday will be cloudy in Porto. Coimbra, 7 degrees. Yes, the chilliest part of the country. Well, probably not the chilliest part. The chilliest of the principal places that I report the weather from or on. 7 degrees at the moment, and 19 the high to look forward to today, and those 3 days of rain. It looks to me like 3 days of rain from Tuesday, from tomorrow, all around Portugal. Okay, so you're not missing anything if you're not here yet, unless you like rain. Some people do, don't they? 19 degrees and cloudy then the high today. 18 down to 13 by Thursday. 16 degrees and cloudy on Friday. A sunny Saturday. It's funny, isn't it? It's curfew sunshine. It's like a bank holiday. And then a cloudy Sunday. 18 degrees next Sunday. This is all subject to change, of course. The value of your weather investments may go up as well as down. Faro, 12 degrees and clear currently. Nice day. Look, 18 degrees will be the high, and a sunny day in Faro today. But cloudy tomorrow, and then a couple of days of rain. So yes, Faro not escaping the rain Wednesday, Thursday, but beautiful looking Friday, Saturday, Sunday with highs of 18 degrees. There you go. That's your weather for the week ahead, and I will continue to share that with you. So let's see who else is saying hi this morning. Bon dia from a sunny but much cooler eastern Algarve. Noticeably cooler, right, Paul? Good morning to you. Ty is here. Oh, he always does this to me. Espero que todos tenham tido bom fim de semana. There you go. He said the simultaneous translation as well. Good man. I hope you all had a good weekend. Very good in the past tense there, Ty. Nice one. Google, or did that spring directly from your fertile imagination and knowledge of Portuguese? Does anyone know of travel info in specific? Where do we have a COVID test? We need it for Dubai. Is it through our local sold or health centre? Cheers for any response, Carl. Well, I don't know the answer to that. I've no plans to travel out of Portugal. Excuse me. So I don't know the answer, but somebody else may well do, and I'll make it my business to find out in the next day or two, Mark. If nothing comes up for you from the show this morning. Okay, let's have a look at this great news then from Miguel, from Portimao actually over the weekend. We have a victory to celebrate, a national victory to celebrate at the MotoGP. I will bring that up onto the screen for you now so you can enjoy it with me. Where are we now? Oh, the other thing I didn't mention. Do you remember I had a bit of a beef with Vodafone? Yeah, it wasn't resolved to any great conclusion in my view. Pretty awful actually, but you know, okay. And then tonight, and you really probably shouldn't open your emails on a Sunday night, should you? At about sort of 11 o'clock in the evening, but I did, to be welcomed by I think it's a €600 bill from Vodafone. I will tell you more about that. You can see I'm quite calm now, but I can tell you I wasn't when I opened that up. I was just, having a quick look to see, if it was back to the old bill I used to get. But no, €600 plus bill, which I'll tell you about in a moment. I'm going to be giving them a ring after the show this morning. Very poor Vodafone. Anyway, come back to that in a while. The historic victory for Portuguese rider Miguel Oliveira wins the MotoGP in Portimao. Hot off the press yesterday, in one of the best kind of feel-good results the country could hope for. Portuguese rider Miguel Oliveira has won the 2020 MotoGP Portuguese Grand Prix in Portimao yesterday, producing a fairy tale ending to his extraordinary season. President Marcelo and Prime Minister Antonio Costa have been quick to congratulate him, both referring to the pride and delight it has brought to the country at what is otherwise a fairly dismal time. If you're new to those two names, President Marcelo and Prime Minister Antonio Costa, we were pleased to have an introduction to Portuguese politics in the Expat Man Cave on Friday night from our friend Safiro. It quickly degenerated thereafter into a beard competition with a female listener to the Expat Man Cave, viewer, Victoria, who joined us on screen to judge our beards. It was quite an evening, and it's on YouTube if you want to put yourself through it. Oliveira, back to the story now. Oliveira himself has described the win as surreal in that it is his first MotoGP victory on home soil. He said, "You dream of these kind of races, and to finally be able to win is incredible," he said afterwards. I mean, what a thrilling sport that is, right? On a motorbike, riding as fast as you possibly can. Add that, the whole day has been made extra special because his family didn't get to see my first win, and they get to see it live here. An incredible day for me, very emotional. And I could see him receiving, when he's on the podium at the end, holding back the tears, singing the national anthem whilst his family looked on. It was amazing. The 25-year-old, only 25, who's been on wheels pretty much since he was 4 years old, was riding for French-based Red Bull KTM Tech 3. That trips off the tongue, doesn't it? As a team which had never had a MotoGP win in its 40-year history until August, when Oliveira clinched his first victory of the season at Austria's Styrian GP. But he's a popular boy among that camp, isn't he? The extraordinary rider is now leaving Tech 3, but he does so, he told Sport TV, with a smile and a victory that leaves me very proud. I imagine as with such great form, he is been made an offer he can't refuse by some other team. And because the pandemic meant this extraordinary victory played out without any members of the public in the stands, the champion had a very special word of thanks to all those who watched the race at home and couldn't come to the Algarve to give their support physically. I know they were on my side, giving me strength, and believe me, I needed all of it to manage the laps. Thank you to everyone. According to Wikipedia, Miguel Oliveira is studying to be a dentist as well. Is there no end to this man's talents, as people often say when such things are discussed? When people can do more than two things well. Concurrently with his Grand Prix racing career. Whether this really is the case is the last question on people's minds today, as the first MotoGP in Portugal has the added glow of seeing the top prize go to a Portuguese national. The president said it was a symbolic event that served to reinforce the will to triumph in so many other areas of national life. So there you go. Thank you to the Portugal resident for that. Let me come back to your comments now. I think I saw my colleague from the Expat Man Cave, Frank here, Frank the Hat, Persian Frank, because he's also sometimes known. And let's have a look. Bon dia from Anna da Silva. Good morning to you, Anna. Nice to have you joining us, among us this morning. And Frank, bon dia, Carl. 3 days of rain. What's this, Manchester? I know, it's not right, is it? This wasn't part of the deal, Marcelo. So an official complaint to the highest level there from Frank. Good morning to you, mate. I hope you're doing well. And Rachel there in the capital. Thank you, Carl. Your show is awesome. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm guessing that is Mark who's sending the messages. Got a double up Facebook profile there, I think, for the whole household, including the dogs from time to time. Anna da Silva. Mark, through local sold will take longer unless you have symptoms, if I'm not mistaken. Otherwise, your best option would be probably private. And you might want to go to one of those many health centres that are part of shopping mall life here in Portugal. Most big supermarket centres, beyond the kind of Modelo level, beyond about 6 shops, and you'll probably have a health centre chucked in there. Mark, so that could be a good and quick place to go to get a test if that's what's required for you. Thank you for that, Anna. Feeling positive, here we go, about my dream to move to Portugal. Took 12 months to collect all the paperwork from around the world that is required from my advogada, my lawyer in Lisbon, and she will receive it all this week. It's taken so much time, resources, and waiting for ministries to open up during COVID. Yeah, I feel very positive and confident about my future. Don't give up. Keep doing, keep going, keep seeing things getting done. Just wanted to share and give encouragement. Well, right back at you, Helen. Sounds like you're doing all the right things. And yeah, it is a big step-by-step process, isn't it? And with so much resting in the future, and you have to just take those daily steps, don't you, to move towards your goal. And thank you for sharing that message and of encouragement to everybody. Hello, everyone from Gemini Bradshaw. Good morning to you, Gemini. Hola, bon dia to you. I peeked into that man cave and Victoria appearing. Hilarious, especially Eugene. Eugene, Mad Dog McCrossan, as he's also known, is quite a character. And I have to keep putting up the disclaimer on the screen. This is not for the faint-hearted, this show. He's extraordinary. American people can't understand half of what he says with his accent. His rich brogue from the north of Ireland. And he is hilarious. That is him nailed in one word. There, Helen. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Another question, Carl. Sorry, no, go ahead. Any advice from your listeners or yourself on a reliable VPN service at a reasonable price, please? Regards, Mark in Panella. Panella, lovely part of Portugal. In case you are looking for places to live, you must check out Panella. Great part of Portugal, central Portugal. VPNs, everybody. Who does those? I did it once, I think, when the World Cup was on, but didn't go back to it. So he's looking for I think the gist of it is a system that cloaks your location on the internet so that you can access certain services, usually of a televisual nature. Am I right, Mark? But yes, these questions are great. That's what we're all about here. €600 Vodafone bill. That's it. Meet me at the headquarters. Heads will turn. Or rather roll. I mean, it's outrageous, isn't it? They cut me off. I won't rant yet. I'll rant towards the end. I don't want to spoil your morning. Mark is coming back. Thanks, Anna De Silva. Appreciate that info. Wonderful support. Yes, that's what I said. That's what we're all about here. So let's have. You've already got an answer on the VPN there in the comments for you, Mark. What I haven't done today is told you what day it is. You probably know that, but in Portuguese, I mean, segunda-feira, dia 23 de novembro. Okay, so Monday. I was gonna say it still throws me. The second day of the week in the culture I was brought up in was Tuesday, but not here. Of course, the first day of the week being Sunday. You know, a deeply religious culture. Sunday, the first day. Segunda, second day is Monday, and the 23rd of November for you. And yes, if you do like the service here, why not chuck a few acres our way? Upgrade at expatsportugal.com and you will get a bunch of discounts there as well to make it all worth your while. It's pretty good value at €25. We have got NordVPN is a good shout from Doreen. Thank you, Doreen Rose. And Surfshark PT for a VPN. How about that? Two suggestions there. One from Helen, one from Doreen. Thank you very much to you both. That's fantastic. Okay, let's have a look at a bit more of this news around the place. Oh, no. Before we do that, I must tell you about the latest with the state of emergency. But before I do that, have a sip of tea. This mug also available for sponsorship. Well, actually, wine. Mainly. But look at that. You can have your advert on that cup there that gets sipped out of. Wait till I tell Vodafone how many of you watch and listen to this. They'll be quaking in their boots. Hold on a minute. Oh my, that's good. Mrs. M gave me a rather splendid sort of citrusy concoction this morning as a little bit of a tonic, which is very nice, made of grapefruits, really beautiful, sweet grapefruits that I bought here, and lemon and honey. It was very nice indeed. Please rant about Vodafone. We could all learn. Well, the first thing to say is don't get yourself. Well, don't use Vodafone. would be my would be my suggestion. But that's only because I'm bitter right now. After, I mean, you know, you picture the scene, right? You're sat late on a Sunday evening. You've had a nice weekend, and you foolishly open your emails to look at a bill that's come in from Vodafone, thinking it might only be about. It's not cheap anyway, but fair enough. You know, I get that in Portugal. These aren't the cheapest mobile tariffs in the world if you use the big companies. But then to open it up at €600, that, you know, it was. I am doing a lot of mindfulness and meditation at the moment, and if you want to become enlightened, as it were, not that I do, but you know, that's the whole gist, isn't it? Of of meditation, mindfulness, of the spiritual journey, is to maybe master one's emotions. I tell you what, that was a great test last night. I recommend it. You see how well you master your emotions when you get a €600 phone bill, don't you? And I can tell you, in their first instance, not very well, but then I turned it around, I have to say. Anna says, the problem is you probably won't find anyone working at the headquarters. Well, unless it's expired, I have a phone number directly into Vodafone, which I'll gladly share with you all, because if anyone's got any problems, I'll give you that. Just PM me and I'll give you the number, the direct one. I don't see why they should be spared that. You deserve good service when you pay so much money to people. So I'm happy to share the number I've got directly into Vodafone, and I'll speak to my friend Ricardo. But I'll come back to that, because there's something actually more important than my little petty problems about my mobile phone. We are, of course, talking about the state of emergency and where we are at with that. And I want to create a picture for you of, or just like a simple guide, because, you know, the law was published on, when was this? Like a day ago. Publication of decree law. This is Safe Communities Portugal, our go-to people for the factual stuff. Publication of decree law regulating the implementation of the state of emergency from a minute after midnight on Tuesday, the 24th. So that doesn't make much sense to me. But the I'm not criticizing Safe Communities Portugal here. I've just there is so much text and info, and by their reckoning, the same. The law has now been published in English translation amounting to 46 pages. And you're not going to read that before you go out of the house, are you? And that's 14,000 words. And what they've done, if you check out their page on Facebook, you will see that they have taken out the articles or elaborated upon the articles which they think are of most use, namely Article 2, the territorial application, as in where, you know, where the measures are in place, the use of masks and visors, Article 4, Article 11, the limitation on movement between municipalities. The big news is that this is one of the most people have been asking about, they say, and sets out the exceptions to the travel ban between municipalities from 11 o'clock on November the 27th and 5 a.m. on December the 2nd. These are the public holidays where there's a worry, I guess, in government circles about the movement of people, as you might imagine. And also from 11 o'clock on December the 4th to just before midnight on December the 8th, 2020, obviously. Note the change on the later time. So not 50 hours on the 9th. Complicated, except for health reasons or other reasons of imperative urgency. So there is a travel ban. This is effectively between the daytime of the November the 28th through to the early morning of December the 2nd, and then again late night on December the 4th through to the end of day on December the 8th. And go to Safe Communities Portugal, folks, for this. I mean, it's suffice to say the state of emergency continues here, and there are now, let me just call up another one of their posts. There are now a total of 213 municipalities in the continent with more than 240 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. That is, which are included in the list of municipalities that have at least a high risk of infection. They represent about 3/4 of the country and 9 million inhabitants. I mean, that's pretty much everybody, isn't it? If you don't include Paris, that's just a joke, a silly joke. But that is that's what Portuguese people say is the third largest city, a Portuguese city, that is, and that is Paris. Alentejo and Algarve are the areas where the risk is lowest for now. Isn't that good to know? So, I go to Safe Communities Portugal as the best start, I think. I do like George Branco's coverage as well. He sends out a very concise e-newsletter. George Branco, he's on Substack. He's really good. But the other thing to note, of course, is that there is something's happening, something's working in terms of the graph, the growth of the graph, and it is beginning to, I don't know what right way of putting this is, a flattening and attenuation of the graph. Something's working, something's happening where the figures, although, you know, all deaths and suffering and illness is terrible for everybody involved, it does look like there is a stabilization, if not a drop in numbers. Okay, but do your own research, take a look, and I suggest Safe Communities Portugal as a very good place to start. Okay, I think there are some other things to talk about here. Let's have a look, shall we? See, we haven't been here for a while, but the portugalnews.com, a number of interesting articles there. I'll come back to those when we've had a look at more of your comments this morning. And it's all too confusing, says Laura. I'll just go out and whisper to the goats. Far simpler. Yes. Yes, Laura, I understand that sentiment. I really do. But as I say there, Safe Communities Portugal, good place to start. And talking to each other here. Also, you know, check out our expatsportugal.com forum. Talking to other people is a really good first step, isn't it, in defusing confusion. So do join us over there. Jerry from Expats Portugal, my colleague, is here this morning with a Bon Dia Carl. Good morning to you, Jerry. For VPN, we have a sponsor on our site. Check out the business directory TV, and internet. Well, I'm not going to just do that, Joe. I'm going to go the whole hog here. And thank you for that prompt. That's excellent. Go to the business directory of Expats Portugal, and I'll actually paste in the connection for you. Television and internet. You notice Vodafone's not in there at the moment. So I will. They have a chance to redeem themselves with me later on this morning. But let me put that in. Thanks, Jerry. Go to this link, folks. I'm popping that in the comments right now. Okay. Let me then return to the Portugal news. Let's look together, I think. Gary's here. Garvo, good morning to you, Gary. Bom dia, Carl. I think, do you think it's fair to say we are all speaking more Portuguese now at the moment? I think we are. I think we've improved a great deal over these last few months since we've been doing the Good Morning Portugal show. All right, Portugal news. Let's go see what the headlines are. I won't look at all of these, but some of them interesting, I think. Portugal to ban domestic travel close to schools around national holidays. I just told you about that, didn't I? So, yeah, Safe Communities Portugal. Portuguese adopting more pets than buying pets, which is always good in any country, isn't it? And there was another one that piqued my interest earlier on. Oh, yeah, Portugal's English speakers among the best in the world, which will come. I'm just talking there about speaking more Portuguese. It will, of course, come as a great relief that Portuguese people speak such good English as well. Portugal, 4th place in EU wine production. Another article here. Always good to talk about Portuguese wine. And we unpack that further in our Good Morning Portugal Wine Club on our Facebook group as well. So let's just have a quick look at this, and then we'll return to the Portugal resident, because there were a couple of goodies on there that I wanted to share with you too. Portugal has climbed to 7th in the latest list of the most proficient English speakers in the world. This country is among those that have improved most since the last ranking, rising 5 places from 12th. Spain... I was going to boo then. I shouldn't do that. But I think Portuguese people will. Spain is placed just ahead of China and is among the moderately proficient. Oh, I see. It's fine. I thought that was going to say Spain is placed ahead of Portugal. I don't think so then in that case. I don't need to boo. Among cities, Porto tops the list of English speakers, followed by Coimbra, Braga and Lisbon. Overall, the Netherlands once again tops the list, followed by Denmark and Finland. So there you go. That will come as some comfort to those newbies on arrival, won't it? Because it's pretty scary. And it sounds like Porto is a pretty cool bet for English speaking, if that's terrifying for you. Okay, let me... Let me see what else is going on in the comments here. Bon dia, my Vodafone experience has been okay. Mine was, Mark. Mine was really okay and great. If you'd have talked to me 3 months ago, I would have told you the same thing. I have a Carlos instead of a Ricardo in Faro, who's extremely helpful. Yeah, these people are worth their weight in gold, aren't they? Your direct contacts in these places. So I'm glad to hear it, Mark. I certainly wouldn't suggest that they're all bad. I've just had a very bad experience personally just recently. And if you stick around, I'll tell you more. Shame my English has gone AWOL. Sorry, I lost my glasses again. Yeah, Gary is speaking more Portuguese and losing his grip on English perhaps there. And yes, don't be fooled. Many Portuguese speak English. Yeah, but I mean, fair play. Why should they? If I may, being you spoke out about the language, I teach Portuguese as well as conversation sessions. If you're interested, please PM me. Oh, cheeky rascal. Anna, be my guest. Thank you for your very kind information. You're not, I see, I don't see you as a spammer. Some spam ad people, they just do their ad and go, don't they? You've been really helpful this morning, so thank you. So be my guest and make mention of yourself and your services. I think, those people running small businesses need a lot of help at the moment. So thank you for your help earlier on. I do see you as a contributor to the community, so there's no reason why you shouldn't get something from it as well. But make sure you sign up at expatsportugal.com as well to improve your chances of business. Mind you, mine is early days. Yeah, Mark, you just wait. Okay, so before I speak of my personal pain around Vodafone, let's just go look at the news on the Portugal resident, where we were celebrating the victory of Miguel Oliveira. We'll go back to their homepage because there were 1 or 2 things on there that I thought were interesting. There you go. You can see that on your screen now, I hope. Yeah, here we go. Back to home. And yeah, interesting stuff. We tend to talk about this more on a Tuesday evening. It's meant to be Portuguese positive news and happy homesteaders, but it just turns out with the grandmother of our community, we talk about the bigger picture, sort of pandemic politics and so on a Tuesday night. This is one we might look at tomorrow night. Experts warn government's new restrictions could actually end up disseminating virus throughout Portugal. And of course, there was that news, wasn't there, where I don't want to do this a disservice, but a big challenge basically to the use of the PCR test in quarantining people, which I can't find immediately at this moment, so I won't say too much about that, but we may well talk about that tomorrow evening as well. Yes, this was interesting. I thought this is very interesting. Be careful, wild campers. You're not really meant to be doing it, and it looks like locals carry out. Well, it looks like they took matters into their own hands in the south. There, locals carry out night raids on camper vans and tents. Locals have carried out these visits on Southwest Alentejo and Vincentine Coast Natural Park. I've not heard of that. That's a nice tip for our Portugal 100 to go to see that coastal natural park there. Not heard of that before. And the locals, yes, are not happy about the camper vans and tents. According to local media reports from the weekend, a group of 20 people have taken direct action against the wild campers, saying the authorities are unable to put an end to the problem. The group carried out raids on 3 beaches of Vila do Bispo and Faro, waking up those who were camping illegally. That must have been quite a shock. The raids were filmed and shared on social networking sites. Wild camping is not a new problem in these areas, and Algesur as well, with surfers arriving in cars and vans from all over Europe and staying at beaches where overnight stays are banned. And I imagine people's concerns have been exacerbated by the pandemic. The head of the Association of Campsites in the Alentejo and Algarve, the APCAA, recently urged authorities to clamp down on illegal camping in order to force campers to opt for legal alternatives such as campsites. And that's the way I guess local people and the authorities want it headed, official sites, not wild camping. So if you were thinking of doing that, you may want to think twice. Local people are not very happy about that. Okay. There was another thing as well I wanted to share with you about, this is, again, I'm approaching this from a slightly different angle. Where we possibly can, I think it's really important that we support local businesses. And we see the pressure that they're under here. Natasha Don reporting a couple of days ago, Faro unites in protest calling for urgent government support. And it may be that us expats can do more to help this organization that's springing up, because, tourism and hospitality has been very badly hit. There were 87% less events as well in Portugal this year because of the pandemic. But look, people from all walks of life protested in Faro this morning. That would have been Saturday, against the crippling state of emergency restrictions that threaten to drag so many businesses into the brink and beyond, I would say. But this is something we could be aware of, right? The Pau e Agua, there's a little bit of language for you there as well. The bread and water movement, started by restaurateurs in Porto, has now been swelled by shopkeepers, workers and business people within the hotel and tourism sectors, nightclub owners and others. Their aim is to make the government aware of the crisis the pandemic has created for so many perfectly healthy people who previously had healthy businesses and lives that worked. Speakers today range from local DJ Pete Dazouk to the city's mayor, Rogério Bacalhau. Travel agency boss, Eliseu Correa, added extra colour to the event, which took place at the docks by hiring a plane to fly past with a banner encouraging strength at this time of such seemingly impossible adversity. The bottom line message was that the region needs urgent measures to avoid bankruptcies, business failures, and galloping unemployment. Remedies suggested so far include reduction of IVA, that's like the value-added tax, and TSU payments for businesses. The wider Pau e Agua movement will be out in force again in Lisbon on Wednesday, with a similar message from the whole country delivered to the steps of the parliamentary building. In the meantime, local reports have stressed that the number of homeless in Faro is increasing, with a significant increase in the number of homeless foreigners. Good heavens. Talking to Lusa earlier this week, Vanda Balaya of NIPSA, Faro's intervention nucleus for homeless people, said the pandemic is clearly the cause of this worrying new trend among the city's rough sleepers. That's bad news for a Monday morning. Sorry, folks, to do that to you, but this is the reality that we're facing. And the what the economic picture that the pandemic has created and the handling of the pandemic, all over the world, where people are facing these challenges. And I just think as people in the expat community, we might be especially attuned to helping out some of our fellow expats. When you see here that homeless foreigners in Faro, it's a structural problem, of course, and only limited help can be given in an emergency, but I think that still should happen. But something we can maybe do more about, organize ourselves, and be aware of, certainly be aware of what's happening here, and definitely support Portuguese businesses that we came here to enjoy. If we want them to sort of stick around and prosper, then now is the time to really support local businesses, I think, right across hospitality and tourism. So there you go. There's my my heartfelt plea to you around that. It is a pretty serious situation. It would be you'd be wrong of me, even though it's heavy stuff for a Monday morning. I think it'd be wrong of me to not mention it, basically. So we will finish with more gloom and doom from Vodafone. I'll keep it as light as I possibly can. Let's have a look. I am on Expats, and thank you. My pleasure, Anna. That's great to hear. Well done. Would outstanding service spot? Yes. Well, funny you should say that, Joe. I think what you were getting at there is, we started the Expats choice, didn't we? I think that was prompted. Actually, no, at that time I was putting Vodafone first in the rankings personally. Yeah, that was my vote, was Vodafone were my number one. We will revisit that. It's a really important thing for us to do at expatsportugal.com. So we will revisit the consumer choice and outstanding service. So yes, singing the praises. We do that as well. I'm not just moaning about Vodafone, although I am going to in just a moment. I read a Portuguese appeals court has ruled that PCR tests are unreliable and that it's unlawful to quarantine people based solely on a PCR test. I just joined a marketing and sales team in the US for the first FDA authorized rapid COVID test, 10 minutes or less, which has over 90% accuracy. So there's a new version. I don't know how useful these are in the eyes of the airlines and so on, but Doreen presumably contactable to find out more. It is ready to be sold worldwide, trying to determine whom to contact in Portugal. Keep us abreast of that, Doreen. Let us know, because that could be useful to people in this community. Noticed them playing football at the stadium while I was out on the balcony yesterday, so I got my binoculars and grabbed a free ticket. Number 7 in your list of thrifty and canny expat tips: watch football with binoculars from your own balcony. Nice one, Gary. One way to support the Portuguese community business and shops is to actually transact and purchase from them. Absolutely right, Helen. We should do that. A lot of them are being limited to takeaway in curfew times. Great opportunity to support your local restaurant or cafe, isn't it? If they're offering that service. The camper van thing is most disconcerting. When you try and just stop a whole way of life for thousands like that, it has repercussions. Yeah, the vigilante approach does sound rather chilling, doesn't it? Will, and it's a structural problem requiring a structural solution. Rather than a vigilante, sort of some hot-headed vigilante action. Although I can understand their frustrations if they feel that nothing is being done. Helen, it doesn't help the local Portuguese community or any local SME anywhere if you keep buying from Jeff Amazon. So true, Helen. This is the price of convenience in the long term, isn't it? It's easy and it's often cheap, but all costs are felt in the end, aren't they? It's somewhere in the chain. So yes, I'm with you there, Helen, personally, that wherever possible, we must support local businesses. And so just finally, does Vodafone qualify as a local business? I'm ringing them later. Let me just, if I can find my bill, I will tell you what happened. This is what greeted me, and to bring some of you up to date as well. So I open up, I'm sat there, I've watched a bit of The Crown on Netflix, season 4 of The Crown. I whizzed forward. I did see some of the early ones, but I just wanted to see, when you hear Gillian Anderson is playing Margaret Thatcher, I just had to see that. And I think she's doing a pretty good job of it, actually. I mean, it's entertainment, isn't it? Remember, I mean, obviously based on factual events. And the funny thing is, we know how it ends up, yet I'm still riveted by this thing. So I watched an episode or two of The Crown, and I think between switchovers with this terrible modern habit of, like having the smartphone nearby whilst watching TV, and I'm checking my emails late last night. Terrible thing to do on a Sunday night, as it turns out, whilst trying to relax. And I open up my Vodafone bill thinking, oh, all is well again. Thanks to my personal contact with Ricardo in the contact center, I think at Lisbon HQ, should be back down to me 40 euros or so. Of course, 40 euros, if you've got a couple of phones, the EVA at 23% really boosts that up. But okay, I'm looking at about 70 notes or something for my mobile usage. Okay, not the best deal, but up until recently, Vodafone offered a pretty stable service, especially that time I drilled through the fiber. They were amazing on that occasion, I have to say. But then I open it up thinking it's going to be around 40, 50 euros. It's a bit more than that. It's a lot more than that, as it turns out. It's 621 euros and 44 cents to be paid on the 15th of December. To get down the back of the sofa and get a few, find the loose change to cover that bad boy. 544 and 95 extra euros from some sort of complemento de servicios. Now, as I drill down into that, as I'm attempting to manage my stress at that point, I realize, and here's some Portuguese for you, it is my penalidade in cumprimento contractual, breach of contract charge of 443 and 5. And of course, with EVA on top of that, it takes it to 546 and 45 centimes. Unbelievable, right? They cut me off. So the backstory here is that I moved house, and there will be a moral to this story. Bear with me. I won't keep you too much longer. I moved house, and Voda couldn't provide a service to the new house. I did ask them because at that point I was very happy with the service. Drilled through the cables once, doing a bit of DIY. They fixed it the next day. They didn't charge me. In fact, I think they compensated me for loss of service for my own silly behavior. Could happen to anyone doing a bit of DIY. But when I moved, they couldn't give me a new service, so I signed up with Mayo. And when they cut off my fiber, they also cut off my phones. I didn't ask for them to do that. They cut off my phones. Very happy with the service at that point. And then ensued a really awful and long, drawn-out episode of trying to get... Because by that time, I thought, okay, they've cut me off. I'll go to Mayo. Tried to port my numbers to Mayo. Then was told by Vodafone I wasn't allowed to do that. But you cut me off. Yes, but you are contracted to us, so you can't go, even though we cut you off. You have to stay with us for another 10 or 11 months or whatever it was. Okay, fair enough. And so I stayed with them, but now they're still trying to charge me for leaving the contract from which they cut me off. So yes, phone call to them. I'll let you know how I get on with that. So two things there. First is, of course, be very careful what you're signing up for. And, from my own personal experience, I don't know if this is generalized. I have heard from other people. Vodafone will be vigorous in the defense of their contracts with people. And they may not... how do I put this? They may not enter into the spirit of goodwill. They may stick to the letter of the contractual law, and even though they made a whopping mistake themselves, they may still show you no mercy, which is indeed what's happened to me here. The other thing I learned, of course, is when you finish. I went from fiber with Voda to fiber with Mayo. You've got that kit, haven't you? You've got the router and those other things that the equipment that you need to have their service. A static phone possibly as well, the router and the satellite box. And if you don't take that back, they will charge you something anything from I think 250 euros to I think my neighbour was telling me 600 euros for not returning her set-top box and stuff. And she's pretty she's Portuguese. She doesn't take any nonsense. She said, "You better come and get it then." And I don't think they did, but that's another thing. So be careful what contracts. That's good advice anyway, isn't it? But contracts. It feels to me like Vodafone's defense of their contracts in Portugal is a little more scary than I'm used to. And now they've made a mistake of this kind, charging me for leaving them, penalizing me for leaving them when it was in fact their mistake, and not just penalizing. I mean, 500 euros is a pretty severe penalty, isn't it? So that's what you're up against, and make sure you take their equipment back. There is a receipt you can get, so you make sure you're not charged those hundreds of euros for what looks like you nicking their stuff. So take it into a shop, and it has to be an official shop, not an agency. Like, you've got a lot of agencies out in the sticks, haven't you? They won't take it, and they will come and collect it, I think. But to me, the most reliable thing was to take it into one of the big shopping malls, take it to the shop, give them the bag of stuff, and get a receipt for it, which I did. So, okay, let's just see what anyone else is saying here. Before we sign off today, you said the T word. Sorry, Gary. Only with a historical reference. Oh, Gillian, aka Maggie, was great in the latest Crown. Very much the Iron Lady. Yeah, careful. You'll have Gary spitting his breakfast out. Vodafone, how can it be over 600 euros? Check your data download packages. Can't be that expensive. A rip-off! I have to say I'm in agreement with you, Helen. No, it's the penalty clause. They cut me off, and then they charged me for breaking their contract. Bom dia from Safiro, the man of the moment, the man of Friday night with his introduction to Portuguese politics. Thank you for that, Safiro. I'm not sure if we thanked you appropriately on Friday night. Let me buy you a beer as well. Send me a PayPal link or whatever, and I'll drop you a beer in the post, as it were. Sorry, caps lock. No, I just took you as a bold and big good morning there. I believe if they can't provide the service where you live, there is no legal breach of contract. No, there isn't. They were fine about that. But they cut the whole lot off. When they cut the fiber part off, they cut my phones off as well. And then it looked like I was breaching the contract when in fact it was their mistake. I hope I've made that clear now. Bon dia. All telecom operators will charge you the penalty if you drop their service before the contract ends, says Antonio F. Thank you for that, Antonio. Surely if that's not if it's their mistake. I suggest to register to a consumer protection partner, Deco Protest. There's a monthly fee of around €3. They can provide you with support or legal help if that's required. Safiro, excellent. That's the sort of thing you learn when you're moaning on your morning breakfast show. Deco Protest. Jerry, let's make a note of that and let's get teamed up with them at Expats Portugal. That's fantastic. That is sound advice to Safiro from Antonio. A couple of Portuguese people giving us some advice there. So, excellent. Thank you, fellas, for that. That's really good. Paul Williams, The Crown. Watched the episode last night where Thatcher resigned. I remember the hangover I had the next day. Not many. The political temperature at the moment is that only people who despise Thatcher will speak out. And we're in a situation now where pro-Thatcher people don't tend to speak on account of such comments like that. Yeah, and there are pro-Thatcher people, of course, who we should remember. Yes, they are a pro-consumer support, says Safira. So there you go. One more time. That is Deco Protest. Might need their services. FD says, got the baseball bat. Let's not get all North American about this. Let's put a North American on Vodafone. Hold your horses, Frank. They are charging you for the rest of the contract duration. Absolutely right, Gary. You need a lawyer. Anna, are you a lawyer? No, you're not, are you? Yes, I probably do. But, I have to say, I've got better things to do with my life as well. I just wish they would get that act in order, sort it out, and just we all go about our lives. Because we are not on this blessed... I'm looking out of my window at the sun shining on the valley outside, and I believe that we are children of the universe who have come here to enjoy life on Earth, albeit it gets a bit challenging at times. But I really do not want to be spending my time, any more time than necessary, which is most time, in a lawyer's office fighting Vodafone. I really don't. And maybe that's what they rely on, is people taking that attitude. And the other thing is, I don't want to be trying to... fill in a livro de reclamações online either, Anna. I really do have better things to do with my time, but I do understand that, sometimes you got to make a stand and deal with it. Safiro, Vodafone, Mayo and Nosh, they all deserve a bat. Easy. I cannot condone any acts of violence. I'm sure you meant that metaphorically. And a thumbs up from Anna de Silva. I think who may agree with me. We've all got better things to do than fight telephone companies. Come on, guys, get your act together and just stop being so awful. Basically, so I wish you a good day. Bom dia a todos. We'll be back tonight at 9 o'clock, slightly earlier. Anna looks fighting talk. If you let it go, they continue doing it. Someone's got to take a stand here. Maybe Anna. Tonight, 9 o'clock, we will be in the company of Ali Sheldrake, whose wonderful book. She's taken the opportunity to launch her book with us tonight. Isn't that fantastic? On the Portugal show tonight, we will be celebrating the launch of Living the Quieter Algarve Dream with Ali tonight from 9 o'clock. So you'll get a lot of, if you want to know about the Algarve, and if your dream is to live the quieter life in the Algarve, that's the place to come tonight at 9 o'clock. Another show to mention is on Friday. Jennifer Baracu from Alvazara over in central Portugal. She helps people reconnect with nature with the work she does. She is Holly Healthy, I believe, on Facebook, as in holistic health. And I'll be talking to her for our Feel Good Friday. I'd like to do a feel good feature. Remember when those laughter yoga people were with us and we had a great laugh? We're on a Feel Good Friday vibe again next Friday. So join me tonight at 9 to find out more about living a quieter life in the Algarve, living your dream, your quieter dream in the Algarve. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning. If not, nice to get away from the Algarve. You can't please everyone. Have a great day, everyone, from Anna. That's lovely. Thank you. Have a great day and week, everybody, from Ana Rita Vieira. He's sticking the boot. Porto's better. And Kathleen Gimlet says, modern life includes spending vast amounts of time dealing with corporate and government jobs worth. Another not happy bunny there. Thank you for that comment, Kathleen. Yeah, far too much of our time is given to those things. We've got to get the balance right, haven't we? So have a great day, folks. Hope you don't have too much trouble dealing with jobs worth and that you're able to enjoy the little bit of sun that will be peeking out from behind the clouds here in Portugal this morning and today. Take care. Bye for now. Até amanhã. Beijinhos, abraços. Ciao, ciao.